Hello. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully some of you are still here. Let me pull up my little YouTube app here so I can see you. Hi. This is me in my living room of my studio. Are you gonna play us a song, Paul? No. What the heck? I'm gonna find my little stream. So, what the heck? Hold on. Sorry. And then I can start the Q&A. Trying to find this video so that I can look at the comments from this smartphone. Oh crap! Now I'm playing a. Why is this happening? Okay, hold on, poor you guys. I swear. Oh my gosh! Eventually, I'll become good at this, but not yet, apparently. So, how do I do it? Okay, I'm looking for my name. Gaelynn Lea. There I am. Gaelynn Lea. And live. Where am I? There it is. Okay, there you guys are. Hi. Turning off my sound. Dang it. So depressing. Okay, hold on, little people. I will be right 1 seconds. Okay. Here I am. Okay, so I'm finally ready. Hello. Hi, Bartek. And is it Calliope? Ooh, that's a beautiful name. I am live now. And so if anyone has any questions or just wants to chat about how they're handling the pandemic, is it Rajai or Rahai? I don't remember. I'm not sure if I know how to pronounce it. But Minnesota is handling the pandemic by basically they shut down all schools last week and all bars and restaurants also. And they are giving grocery store workers emergency hazard pay and trying to really keep people out of public places unless they absolutely need to be out. And so Minnesota's taking it pretty seriously. I hope that that it doesn't get to a real high level of medical emergency, but that kind of remains to be seen. Where I live in Duluth, Minnesota, which is, see that little Lake Superior up there, we're right on the nose of the wolf head, if you think about it that way. We're right on the tip. And so we're a couple hours north of Minneapolis. And where we are, we just had our first case confirmed yesterday. So it hasn't really spread through where I'm living quite yet, but I'm sure that it will. So trying to be as careful as possible. So yeah, that is how we are handling the pandemic. How are all of you? Is everybody pretty much unable to go to restaurants and bars right now? Is that pretty much all over the world or just in certain states? You had a shelter in place in Ohio. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think that's sort of the trend, and that's good. The more quickly we can do that together, the better, I think. In the San Francisco for takeout only. I think we might still be allowed to do takeout in Minnesota as well. But yeah, I'm glad that everybody's taking it seriously. I heard, that we just have to basically not panic, but not go anywhere at the same time. So that's what these concerts have been about, is trying to make things that are fun to do that don't have to be so serious, but don't require anyone going anywhere. So any other questions? I see Tina said, have you ever heard of Daniel O'Donnell? I have not. Oh, the UK, all closed, but people can go out. Oh, they were crowding at the seaside. I know. That 6 foot thing is real. And so, that's frustrating. Sorry, Bartek, but people are still going to the beach. We are going outside. I went on a walk yesterday with a friend, but we're taking that 6 foot thing really seriously. And there's no way I would go to a beach right now if it was crowded. That's a bummer. So I don't know. I've never done a Q&A live, but I thought, because I can't see the comments while I'm playing, if anyone had any questions or just want to talk about what's going on. I know social distancing, anything like that. How have you been coping? How have you been feeling? I know I've been really anxious, but I'm trying to find different coping skills every day. So that's sort of where I'm at. And I'm assuming a lot of us are feeling the same way. But yeah, anything you want to share or any questions you have, this is the time. Besides this concert, pretty much just going on walks, trying to paint, doing some writing, journaling too. But besides that, there's not, you know, kind of have to be home based. Any other questions on this little live chat? Oh, a daily routine. So, well, that's what I'm struggling with right now, Bartek. He asked, what is your daily routine? Well, since we're home right now, the daily routine has been a little bit erratic. I've been trying to go to bed at a reasonable hour and wake up at a reasonable hour, but my sleep, I'm a night owl by trade, and so that's been a little tricky. But I'm trying to get ready in the morning in my same old routine that I always do, which is I read a little devotional thing and do a little bit of journaling and then drink coffee and eat breakfast and get dressed and shower. And then I think starting tomorrow, which is the first full week that we, that really everything is shut down, I'm going to try to work from the hours of 1 to 6 every day. I made a list of all the work projects that I could possibly do while I'm home, and I'm going to just tackle those, including taxes, which is terrible, but I might as well. So from 1 to 6, I want to work, and then from eat dinner after that with Paul, and then after that, try to do something creative every night or something relaxing. So some nights I've been painting, as I said, and then some nights we have a couple books on tape that we're going to try to finish. And maybe, we don't actually have a TV, so we don't do a lot of television, but just kind of doing things that are fun and chill at home. And then I want to write new music in the evenings. I really am a night owl, so I'm not going to be doing that in the first thing in the morning, but in the evenings, I want to do some writing music. And then I really might actually start the book a lot earlier than I was planning. I wasn't planning to work on my book until May. I want to write a book about the last 4 years of touring, and then also just kind of what it's like being a disabled artist on the road, and disability culture and disability pride. But I was planning to start that book in May, but I'll probably start it, early April instead, because there's no reason not to right now. So, and then trying to go to bed by 1 a.m. Again, night owl. But if I go to bed much later than that, it screws up the next day. So trying to just keep some sense of like progress moving forward, and then also taking time to hang out with people. So on the weekends, I'm going to try to do a lot of phone calls with friends, and then also do some walks every weekend, get outside and do some walking and sitting around with people. So that's my routine. Um, my friend Sarah says, my house hasn't been cleaner. I organized the basement and a charity bag growing. That's a great idea. I think the charity bag is a really cool idea. Oh, what's the deal with that bird song? Where did the idea come from? So the bird song is a song that I wrote really early in my writing career, and I was laying down for a nap one day, and all of a sudden this little melody popped in my head, but it was based on the idea that at the time, this was way before I won the Tiny Desk contest or ever thought that I would be touring. I wondered if somebody with a disability that was so visible like mine would ever be able to make a music career, just because there's so much about image in music, especially artists that, are signed to labels and touring everywhere. There's a lot of like external things that we see, and I don't fit a lot of those molds. And so I was curious if a person with a disability would even be able to do that, like make a career out of music. But I realized that it's worth trying anyways. That's the whole, um, like, you might as well sing anyways, right? And so music, I guess, makes me feel like a bird is basically what that song is about. So, yeah, thanks for asking. Oh, that's cool. The In the Bleak Midwinter, somebody says they use it for meditation. I love that song. I heard it in a hymnal and it just like captured my heart. I don't know. That song is really beautiful and it's really meditative as well. I think it started as a poem actually. Um, oh, Tina says Daniel O'Donnell is an Irish singer. I will have to look him up. Thank you for the recommendation, Tina. Um, Lynn says, how do you choose the songs for your tour set list? Well, when I am going on tour, it depends on if it's solo or with a guitarist because I can't play all of the songs that I have written solo. Some of them just don't loop. So that factors in, but a lot of it has to do with creating an arc of emotion. So, like, I feel like if you've ever seen the movie High Fidelity, he talks about making the perfect mixtape and how it's a journey and you take them on all these different emotional highs and lows. And I actually think a musical set list can accomplish the same thing if you plan it out right. So just I pick songs that I feel, obviously new ones if I'm going on a new tour, but try to place them in ways that give people some feelings of happiness and maybe more intense and then maybe sadder and then come back up and just kind of allow people to experience all sorts of different emotions while they're listening to the set because I think that's why we all go to music is to feel. And if you place them right, songs have more impact. So that's a thing that I have always thought a lot about when I play my sets. And so, yeah, and the songs I learn, I have a little list of cover songs I want to learn. So sometimes I'll throw in one of those, and then every time I write one, obviously you got to find a new place for that in the set. So Tina asks, when is Clara Belle's birthday? Our dog, we don't know. We're the worst dog owners. She was born in the spring, so we think it was actually either April or March or May. But I have to go look at my email. We got her from a lady who breeds them, and I know that I have her birthday somewhere in an email, in like my old email inbox. But she was born in the spring in 2010, I guess. So that makes her, she's just turned 10. So that's Claire's birthday. Christopher Ploran, want to hear a joke? Yes, if it's family friendly, feel free to send it. Lynn Swan, that's really cool. Thanks for sharing. Oh, High Fidelity reference. Yes, that's a great movie. Does anyone else have any questions or anything they want to share? Christopher, your joke? Oh, have I changed my mind about 80s music? Bartek, no. I'm sorry to say I have not. Paul had...
Try Bartek.
What? He tried. Paul tried. So, Paul, what was that band that was playing where I was like, we have to turn this off? It's making me rageful. It wasn't Journey, but it was something like Journey.
Rush?
Rush.
I love Rush.
Hate Rush. Paul likes Rush. We were listening to the radio the other day, and I was like, I can't handle this anymore. Please turn it to something else. So I'm sorry, Bartek. But maybe you can make me an 80s playlist, and then I'll give it a fair shot. Multiple birthdays is definitely better than one. That's what Lynn says. Yes, Clara has the whole season of spring is her birthday. Why don't horses run grocery stores? I don't know. Because they pay in bucks. Oh my goodness, that's cute. Oh my goodness. Favorite song, most inspiring for your own music. Like favorite songs of my life. I would say King of Carrot Flowers by Neutral Milk Hotel. Grace Cathedral Hill and Red Right Ankle by the Decemberists. I'm the Man Who Loves You by, I bet it's Wilco, I think, right? Yeah, Wilco. I don't know, When I Go Deaf by Low is on that list. There's so many. Simon and Garfunkel, The Dangling Conversation. Those are some of my favorites. I don't know if they have inspired my music directly, but people who use lyrics in a creative way or sound in a creative way really get me. So that is my favorite stuff. I have not heard of this activist. I will have to look her up. Thank you for the recommendation, Lynn. I'm afraid I'll butcher the pronunciation of her name. What's my most played song or band? Probably big band music. Well, not probably, definitely. And probably Tommy Dorsey of the big bands. And then there's a few other ones I really like too, but Tommy Dorsey is. And then Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald. I love 40s music, and someday it would be a dream to make a cover album of 40s music with looping or just violin and a guitar or something. So that's a dream of mine. Yeah, so that is my favorite played thing. But other bands that I really listen to a lot, besides Wilco and the Decemberists and Nuke and Milk Hotel, are Charlie Parr. He's from Duluth, Minnesota, and he is amazing. And I've listened to all his work for sure. And then there's other artists we've met on the road, like Ben DeLacour and Jess Klein, who I've gotten to know and I really like. And I listen to their music quite a bit too. What is my favorite color? Bright blue. I don't see any of the version. Oh, yeah, I do. This is my favorite color, Tina. This shade of blue, the bluebird, the bright, the darker one. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. It's tiny. But there's a really pretty blue shade on there, and that's my favorite color. So if there's someone I would like to work with ever, past or present, I would love to meet Itzhak Perlman, partly because he obviously is amazing, and but he was also a disabled artist before that was something people were talking about. And so I would love to meet him and kind of pick his brain and get his experiences. I would also love to meet Yo-Yo Ma because he's amazing, and I just love what he plays and the style of the Silk Road stuff, especially. He is amazing. And for work, I mean, it would be so fun to make an album with someone great like Jeff Tweedy, who is just such a great songwriter. But I also like to not actually set too many expectations of who I'd like to work with, because I think it leaves the door open for just more things. You just say yes to more if you don't have a totally specific idea of where you need your career to go. And that maybe, to me, that also applies to collaborations. I played with Pigface this fall, which is an industrial rock band. And I opened a few shows for them and then did a couple songs. And the people in that band are not people that I ever saw myself collaborating with, at any point until I met them. And this year, one of the people was Randy Blythe. He's the lead singer in Lamb of God, which is a really hardcore band. And he's the nicest person ever. And we actually collaborated in the sense that we did a song called Suck that was an acoustic. I know it's not me at all usually, but this is where I was this fall. We did a song called Suck. And it was a slowed down acoustic version, and I was looping my violin, and I believe he was playing tambourine, and there was a guy playing a sitar, and these three people that probably never would have met except for that band are on stage together, grooving out. And Leslie Rankin, she is from Scotland. She was singing, and she's got a gorgeous voice, but they're all just totally different genres than me, and that's a memory I wouldn't trade for anything, basically. But I would never have asked. I wouldn't have even thought to ask the universe to have that experience. So I don't know. That's what I think about collaborating. It's fun when it happens, and it's nice not to set too many parameters. Our 7-year-old would like to know what your favorite story is. The Places You Will Go by Dr. Seuss. I enjoyed that a lot. I remember that. I used to be obsessed with The Little Engine That Could. That was a book that I read a lot as a child. And I really like How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Those might be my 3 top children's stories. Thank you, Hugo. And my question is, when did you decide to create music? It kind of came spontaneously in 2012. I met a person named Alan Sparhawk, who's a musician from Duluth. He's the lead singer of Low. And he asked if I would like to collaborate with him on a project where I played my violin and he would loop the violin, much like what you saw, but he would operate the looping pedal. And then we would make this instrumental music together. And I said, sure, because I'm always up for collaboration. And we did this silent film soundtrack first, but then we enjoyed playing together. So we did some shows after that. And that experience of playing with Alan, not just the looping pedal, because that was a big part of it, is just like learning something so different than I had never even known what a looping pedal was. And just learning this whole new skill set was really powerful. But also, he plays so differently than me and he knows so much about music. He's like my musical mentor, basically. And so around the same time we started performing together, I spontaneously started writing songs. And it really came out of the blue. And I remember on the bus is the time I wrote my first song, and I kind of just popped into my head and I didn't know what to do. So I showed it to Alan the next day at a band practice, and he told me, that's good. We should do that tomorrow night at our show. And so that he performed with me the very first time, which was really sweet of him because that's not actually what we were planning to do. We were going to make an instrumental project, and then all of a sudden it turned into like half instrumental, half all these new songs that I was writing. So that's, I think if I had to say what inspired me, it would probably be Alan and working with him and like learning so much all at once. I think sometimes learning new things sparks creativity in a way that you can't predict. And I never imagined I'd be writing, except for that that's what happened when I got to know him. So yes, that's a good question. Thank you, Hugo Brown. And I appreciate you listening to the music and that you enjoy it. How were you introduced to the violin, says Kangaroo. And thanks for joining us, even if you're late. It's not a big deal. I started playing violin because an orchestra came to my school in 4th grade and played for us. And I remember just being really fascinated and loving the synchronicity of the bows and the sound that it made and just wanting to do it. And so I went home and told my mom, next year I'm going to join an orchestra because we could do that in my school. And she just said, okay, even though she actually had no idea how I was going to do it. But luckily, I had a teacher who in my school was willing to help me adapt how I play. That's pretty rare, I think. People don't often get encouraged to totally reinvent their instrument if they have a disability. Unfortunately, like I've met a lot of people who were told, oh, you can't do that. You can't play like that. That's not how people play. But luckily, my teacher just said, I don't know if this will work, and it might not work, but I want to try to find a way for you to play. So we messed around with the violin and tried the cello and all sorts of different things. And the thing that ended up working was playing the violin up and down like a cello. Originally, I wanted to play the cello, but this ended up being a perfectly good path, the violin. And the fun thing is I just decided to get a 5-string violin that has a low C, sort of like a cello. So my dream of playing cello will eventually be realized when I can figure out how to play that thing. It's a lot different. So it's not something you can just jump on to because the angle of the bow is so different.
Can I show the fireplace?
Oh, yeah. So we have a fireplace here. I know I'm trying to get the angle right. It's like goofy. I wanted you to see the Lake Superior, but now you have. So now you can tilt it straight down a little bit. There you go. There's our little fireplace. Isn't that fun? Yeah, it's an electric fireplace. It can do heat, but we don't usually want to spend that much money on heat. So we just let it be a light, but I love it so much. Let's see what the next question is. Are you familiar with Postmodern Jukebox? It would be great if you could collaborate on a song with them. I do not know who that is, but I also live basically under a rock, so I will have to look them up. It is kind of sad how many things I don't know about bands, but I will look that one up because it's always fun to learn new things. Lynn asks, what's the story behind the cool art on your wall? It reminds me of Game of Thrones. Are you talking about that Lake Superior? That is a cutout of Lake Superior. You can't see it anymore because we just moved it to the fireplace, but We camp in Two Harbors, Minnesota, as much as we possibly can. We'll just tilt it up so you can see for a second. Yep, that artwork is not Game of Thrones. It's Lake Superior. We camp at Two Harbors, right on the lake, at a place called Burlington Bay a couple times a summer if we can. We took a couple of years off when we were touring, but we went last year, and one day they had this over their desk, and we're like, oh my gosh, we love Lake Superior. It's like my favorite part of Minnesota. Is there any chance we could buy something like this? Like, who made this? And they're like, oh, the guy who digs the graves for the Two Harbors Cemetery just started doing wood carvings, and so here's his phone number. You can call him. And he agreed to sell us one and hung it up, and I really, really like it. If you ever want a Lake Superior cutout, I can get you that guy's information. He's good. How did Paul ask you to marry him? Paul, can I tell this story? I mean, it's not like that crazy, the story. Basically, we have been dating for 7 years, and it's actually my bad. So he had already gotten a ring, and he was going to propose. He was all ready to do it, but there was one morning where my cousin was getting married for the second time in our relationship. So we were going to her second wedding in our relationship, and we weren't married yet, and I was crabby one morning waking up, and I was like, are we ever even going to get married? She's gotten married twice, and we're not married yet. This is silly. When are we ever going to get married? So he just said, well, I can't do anything about it now. So why don't we just go have a nice day on the lake? And so we actually went to that campground, Burlington Bay, and we walked around on these paths, and Paul said, oh, there's a bench over here. Why don't we look at the lake? So we sat and looked at the lake, and he was fumbling around in his wallet, and I was like, what is he getting? And he pulled out a coupon that I had made him one year when I was being thrifty for Valentine's Day, and the coupon said, valid for one lifetime of love and affection. And he handed me the coupon, and he said, I want to redeem this coupon. And it was super cute. And then he got down on one knee and proposed, and I said yes, and it was awesome. So that's the story of our engagement. I wish that I hadn't been crabby that morning, because it would have been a better story. But he had it all planned out anyways. It's pretty cute. So, let's see. What is the last movie I watched? Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford. And before that, what's the one? Didn't we go to one before that not that long ago? I don't know. I don't remember. We don't do a lot of movies or TV. So that's not my jam, but I should do more. I love going to movies, but I don't like watching movies at home. So that is why we don't see very many.
Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, Star Wars. That was awesome. You're right. That was the one before that was the last Star Wars. Bartek asks, do I listen to classical music? Yes, I do. Not like nonstop, but I do go through little jigs of classical, and I like it. I like, especially Bach and Tchaikovsky are my two favorites. So will I ever come visit the Netherlands and do shows there? I really hope to. For some reason, we've just never gotten an offer to play in the Netherlands, and I don't know anyone there, so it's like the way touring works overseas is you kind of have to have a reason to go or a friend who can help you book some shows. So in Scotland, the way I ended up there is I met a really nice guy named Kapil who lives in Glasgow, I believe, and he did a showcase with me at South by Southwest, and we met that day. It's not like we had been friends forever, but he's like, oh, I live in Scotland. Have you ever been there? And I was like, no, but I'm going to the UK in the fall. And he's like, well, then pop on up to Scotland and I'll book some shows for us. So that's how that happened. So something kind of similarly, like a festival or a connection musically would have to happen, I think, before I can get to a new country randomly. But I hope to do that someday because I would really like to see the Netherlands. Oh, I did meet Puddles. I did. Oh, and he also sang with Postmodern Jukebox. Okay, that's cool. Puddles is awesome. I really like him. I met him in Duluth. Actually, no. First I met him in Austin, Minnesota, because we were both playing at a festival or singing at a festival. And then when he came to Duluth, he got in touch and we went to see a show and met him afterwards, and he's super, super nice. Hugo asks, where do you want to travel, or what is your favorite place in the world? I want to travel everywhere, but I'd really like to see Italy eventually. We've just never been. I would love to see some parts of Asia. I mean, we've just never even been anywhere close to that. So far, we've been to the Czech Republic and Iceland and Ireland and England and Switzerland and Germany and France. And that's pretty awesome because we never went anywhere before. Like, we had never been overseas, either of us, my husband and I, when I had won the Tiny Desk. So we've done a lot more traveling than we used to. I would love to see Mexico and perform there someday. But I would really go anywhere because I think everywhere you travel adds to your experience. My favorite so far, I love Paris just because I took French for like 7 years and I've always wanted to see it. And when I saw it, we had a really, really, really wonderful time. Just kind of like a lot of little magical things happened and it was really fun. And so Paris was great. And I love Edinburgh. I'd like to go back there. We were only there for like 24 hours, but it was beautiful. And we were kind of in the middle of a tour and I was booking it all myself. So I didn't really give it much thought that we were going to be in Edinburgh. And I never even looked up like, what does Edinburgh look like? And so we got there and I'm like, what? This is beautiful. So I'd like to go back there someday for sure. Any other questions besides that? I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm pretty much free all day, but I don't want to make you guys have to listen to me talk for 3 hours. So does anyone have any other questions before we cut it short? As you can tell, we have not much going on besides the interwebs. What's the name of my new song? The new one that I sang today is called The Long Way Around. And then I'm actually going to record in the next couple of weeks another new one called This Hunger Won't Leave, but it's not done yet. I have to kind of work out all the kinks. I was kind of hoping to play it today, but I think I'm going to have to wait a couple weeks. Oh, so I have a question for you guys. What kind of things would be fun for people? I mean, I think I'm going to do a concert, kind of like what I did today, like once a month or so, but is there anything else fun? I think Sunday I'm going to try some meditation music that's just ambient looping. But what else would be fun for you guys? And thank you, Bartek. I wish we were in person with you, but we'll get to England again soon. But anyone have any ideas of what would be a cool way to connect on the internet? Just play random stuff for you, I guess. Reading some poems would be lovely. Okay, I could look in my little archive. Maybe I could also read a couple of my favorite poems that other people have written. But I do have some poems of my own. Cool. Trivia!
Yeah.
Jerry, my friend Jerry says, trivia! Actually, that would be really fun. I will fail. So either I'll just read the questions or you'll realize how bad I am at trivia. Where am I from? I am from, a book club. Clever, Bartek. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota. Which is in the middle of the state, well, like kind of north part of the state, right on the tip of Lake Superior. So if you look at that piece of art, the little pointy part on the end, that's where we are. So we're on a big body of water, and there's a lot of woods, and just so you can see the lake from almost anywhere in Duluth. And it's really beautiful. A lot of people compare it to like San Francisco, which I guess I can kind of see that. We're hilly and we're on the water, but we're much colder. Like it was snowing today. It snowed like 2 or 3 inches last night, which is tragic. But okay, so cool. I definitely am going to try the meditation, Sarah, and poems and stories. Okay, good. It's making me branch out. I think one thing, I don't know how you guys feel, but the pandemic is terrible, and I hope that it goes away soon. But I also think there's some benefits to us remembering we're all in this together, like on the planet together. And also, how can we connect with each other in meaningful ways? Maybe not even when there's a pandemic. That's what I'm hoping comes out of this. So any other questions or anything you want to know, this is your time, because basically we're all just here hanging out. I'm glad you're here. I was like, well, if no one comes, that's fine. So thank you for making time. Tried to make Clara appear in this video, but she jumped off the chair right away. So sorry about that. When will I release my next album? Hello, Bartek. I'm hoping in the next year or two, but I really do have to do a lot more writing before that's a possibility. I've toyed around with just releasing an instrumental album that's more improv, and I might do that sooner. But the next album I release, I don't want to feel like pressured to put something out fast and then not like it. So I'm really trying to just be patient with myself and write as often as I can, but not make it feel like I just got to get some stuff out there. You know what I mean? So there's a balancing act, I think, that comes with that. The book is the thing I'm more personally jazzed about right now. And so I'm going to put my energy there for at least the summer. And then I think the fall and winter is when I was planning to seriously write songs. And I kind of think that what will happen while I'm writing the book is I wouldn't be surprised if songs come out, but I'm not going to say this is what I'm doing right now as both big projects because that stresses me out a little bit. But yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping within a year or two at the latest. But I'm planning to do singles kind of whenever I have something, I think. Maybe not all the singles for the whole album, but I think singles are a fun way to connect with people in the meantime. I know. So Mr. Happy NEC says, oh, hi, Clara. Hi, Paul. Thanks. Hi. You're such a star, Clara. So he says you can do dual collab projects with other musicians on the internet feeds. And I think that is something I'm going to talk to Alan and Al Church and Dave Mailing about. Because that would be super, super fun to do a live stream with both of us. And Bartek, I am planning to do another album with Alan, and that will come out definitely sooner than my solo album. So that's something that I'm hoping we get out sooner than later. So Hugo asks, what do I do in my free time? I really love to read, especially like self-help and spirituality books, but I'm also thoroughly obsessed with Harry Potter. And I just like to read, I don't know, like I'm going to read Eleanor Roosevelt's biography soon. I read Michelle Obama's. I just like reading things that are interesting. And so that would probably be my top hobby. But then going outside and just being on a walk, like going on walks with Clara and Paul, or just being outside by the lake. That's probably my second favorite hobby. But because we're indoors so much, I just decided to try starting microgreens. So they're the teeny little sprouts that you eat on a fancy salad, but they're supposedly very good for you and they don't take very long to grow. So even if we're on tour, we could grow some for the weeks in between that we're home. So I'm going to try microgreens and see if that is a hobby that sticks. And then watercolor painting has been another thing that I've recently become really fond of doing when I'm bored. I would say knitting, but I really only knit one row a year on the scarf that I've been working on for 8 years. So I like knitting in theory, but I never do it. Tina asks what my favorite holiday is. Definitely Christmas, but not the kind of Christmas America talks about with like presents and stuff, but more just like the festive Christmas lights and cozy family time. And, I'm spiritual, so I personally like the symbolicness of the manger, humble people changing the world, I think is what we could use more of. So it's another reason I like Christmas. But and I love the music. I have a Christmas album, not just to make a Christmas album, but because I am veritably obsessed with Christmas music. I really like it. So if I could make one wish, what would it be? That everybody has what they need to survive. I think we all I wish our world could get its act together to give everybody what they need to just survive and live peaceful lives. But that would be my one wish, that we all just had enough to make ends meet and be happy. Um, oh, a Titan recognized me on the TV. That's cute. So Bartek has this really cool little black lab, named Titan. That's cool of it. Tell Titan I say hi. I wonder, was he barking when he saw Clara? Who knows? Clara's already asleep. She's the world's laziest dog, but she's very cute. Um, I know. So my friend Sarah was saying when it warms up, we can sit on my little deck and I can have coffee in my house and she can sit on my deck and we'll do a quarantine knitting party. That would be wonderful. So yeah, what are the creative things you guys are doing? Like, we decided walks are great, and then because we live on the lake, we're going out to like very secluded parts of the beach and sitting 6 feet apart from like my parents and hanging out that way so that we still see people in person. These live streams are cool, but what else are you guys doing to pass the time? I mean, I heard somebody was stress baking. My sister, I think, was stress baking the other day, which sounds pretty good. So there's a lot of ways to cope, but I think it'd be cool to think of more fun things. I like the idea of reading stories and poems. Maybe if you guys are bored, if you have a favorite poem, email it to me. Talking to family and friends a lot is nice, yes. Um, Bob Ross is streaming on Twitch. Are you serious? That's awesome. Um, I know. Okay, so Kangaroo is saying something that I've been thinking about a lot too. With all the world being shut down, they've suddenly moved a lot of jobs and services online that haven't been online before. But they could be, obviously, we're making it work. And people with disabilities who often struggle to get out and do 40 hours of work at a regular job site, but could work from home, have been asking for those kind of accommodations for a long time. And even people who don't have disabilities, like my cousin is a great graphic designer. Well, my cousin's husband, I guess, and he's made all my album covers, and he works from home, freelance. And so there was a great job opportunity for a little nonprofit that was hiring a part-time graphic designer. And I said, and it was in a different city in Minnesota, and I emailed them and I said, I have the perfect candidate. He's so great. He's so creative. He's so easy to work with, but he'd have to work remotely. And they said, no, he needs to be able to come in to the office. And I think that's sort of short-sighted on the part of employers in this modern age. And I hope that some of these accommodations that we're making now, I think you're right, Kangaroo, that they should be something that we can continue to do, or expand our idea of what works, right? And that's what I'm thinking even now. Like, I'm like, dang, I did these live streams because it's like, well, what else can I do to cheer people up? And like, I do music, so I should keep doing music, even if it feels kind of random to do it on live stream. But I was realizing as we were doing this that I should probably be doing these at least every couple months to connect with people overseas or people who can't get out to shows. And so making the world more accessible for everyone is always smart. And so I hope we don't forget all these lessons that we're learning right after the pandemic passes. I'm hoping that we can keep that. Spent weekend gardening. Oh, good idea. Dang, smart. I wish we could garden. We have a little tiny raised garden that I can't get into yet at this apartment, but they're hoping to move one of the boxes to a place that my wheelchair could get. So maybe I'll do some gardening when we're home. Looks like we won't be going anywhere for a while. Does anyone else have any questions or ideas that they want to share? I really appreciate you sticking around. I had no idea how this part was going to go, but I felt like it'd be fun to talk to people. Cool. Thank you, Lynn. I'm hoping that we'll be able to do more things. Oh, your parents had the same fireplace in their house? Yeah, those things are fun. I bought that back in college when I was like super broke. I saved up and bought it out of a catalog because we never had a fireplace growing up when I was a kid, and I always wanted one. So when I moved out and moved into like a rental house during college, I was like, it's my time to get one finally. So I've brought it with us the last like 12 years to different places and kept it. So I like it. Choo Double Hurdy, I thought my concerts were canceled. Oh, thank you so much for being here and watching. Who does the cooking at my house, and what is my favorite place to eat? Paul does most of the cooking. Probably not because he would have to, because theoretically I can cook. I just don't cook. I cook like twice a year when I'm like really, really feeling crafty. Cooking and knitting, I do those things about the same amount of time. So Paul does a lot of the cooking. His mom is a phenomenal cook and is really into that. So I think he must have gotten some of those genes from her. So he does most of the cooking. My favorite place to eat at is sushi restaurants. Yum, they're the best. Don't make me think about sushi now, though, because I can't go to sushi. So I'm not trying to. We tried to make mock sushi out of albacore tuna and wasabi sauce, and it is not the same. It's not terrible, but if you think of it as sushi, you'll be very disappointed. So I guess, it's totally up to you guys. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to ask. I don't want to keep you here if you're bored, but I'm really glad that I got to talk to you. I'm having fun, so thank you for making my afternoon more enjoyable too. Do you guys like the YouTube platform? Is another question I have for you for live concerts. Oh, you're welcome, Bartek. Does anybody have any preference on platforms? Okay, you do. Okay, I do too. I've heard some people suggest Zoom because you could see their faces, but I like that YouTube is very accessible to a lot of people. Okay, good. So I think I'm going to stick with YouTube for pretty much the future until somebody tells me that they really have a great idea. Okay, I think it's pretty easy to use, and what I like is this will be archived too, so we'll be able to. I don't know about this particular chat if it'll be archived, but the concerts will be. So I think that's kind of neat. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to keep doing YouTube. So the next time I will be online is Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time, which in the UK is 7 p.m. In New York is 3 p.m. It depends on where you live, but I think I'm gonna do meditation music just for fun, like a little. I found a way to get my candle in the screen, so like you'll basically be looking at a candle, and I'll be in the background playing some meditation music, so we can both be staring at the same candle, miles and miles apart. So I think that'll be fun. And I just want to say thank you again for all your generosity and support and making this a fun way to spend a Sunday afternoon. So take care, you guys. And I hope we see each other in real life sooner than later, but also online. Okay, here we go. We're signing off. Love you guys. Bye.